Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, you can tell by the title, we are going to be discussing Trisha Paytas. Now, I never want to be in the position where I have to come to bat for Trisha Paytas or in some way come to the defense of Trisha Paytas, but here I am. Okay, so I am very immersed in feminist culture, feminist rhetoric, feminist theory, and in a bigger scale, not to even put it in an academia way, just in the grand scheme of life, I'm interested in feminist politics. I'm interested in the liberation of women. That is my thing in life. The liberation of women, probably specifically black women, but you can put it to any woman. So Trisha Paytas, I want to use Trisha Paytas as a catalyst to something bigger, because what happened to her over the weekend, I feel like highlights something way bigger that's an issue. And so I'm going to use her, even though she's not the person who necessarily probably fits this example the best, but she does fit this example. Now, let's just get it out the way. I don't like Trisha Paytas. I don't like Trisha Paytas anymore. I have grown. I have seen the issues in her ways. She is an implicit racist. And so I don't necessarily like Trisha Paytas, but I also know my own politics and I know my own stance on things, and I can't just sit back and just be like, well, I don't like Trisha Paytas, so I'm going to allow this to happen, or I'm going to be okay with this happening, or I don't see issue in this happening. So I have to speak up when I see an issue, because the issue doesn't only pertain to Trisha Paytas. That is the problem. So Trisha Paytas is the owner of a Patreon account. It is an 18 plus Patreon account where she posts explicit videos, explicit content. 9 times out of 10, she's naked on there. And that is basically, she even said it in one of her videos, she makes the most of her money off of Patreon, which would make sense. So basically, over on Patreon, you can pay a certain amount of money and you get to see Trisha Paytas naked, period. And so she does ads for her Patreon, and on her Patreon, you can spend however much money and you can go over and see her. Well, she posted one of the ads on Twitter, and it got a lot of traction because people had a lot to say about the way that Trisha Paytas looked. So the tweet that really blew up was, whoever did Trisha Paytas' boob job needs to go to jail. And then if you go into the comments of that video, you have a whole bunch of people pretty much body shaming Trisha Paytas. Here's the thing. Trisha Paytas is engaging in sex work. Trisha Paytas, if Trisha Paytas claims that she makes most of her money off her Patreon when she shows herself naked, she is a sex worker. It doesn't even matter if she's not making most of her money off of it. She makes money via sex work, making Trisha Paytas a sex worker. Now, I understand Trisha Paytas has a lot of money. She has a lot of access, and a lot of people like to say, and I'm sure this is going to be like something people will say in the comments as a retaliation or answer to some of the questions I ask in this video. Trisha Paytas is too rich. She's too rich to be a sex worker. She's too rich to this. She's too rich to that. She's too rich to have to show her body off to the camera to make money. We're going to have to stop seeing sex work as a means to an end. There are plenty of women who are in the strip club right now making more money than you and I will ever see, and they're not stopping anytime soon. There are plenty of escorts, plenty of prostitutes, plenty of people on Patreon, plenty of people on the internet making money that you and I will never see in a lifetime, because they want to. They, of course, could have went in any direction, this, that, and the third, but this is what they have decided to do, because whatever they are doing, this brings them comfort. This brings them satisfaction. That is why they are doing this. But there's this stigma on sex work that needs to be eliminated. The stigma on sex work needs to be eliminated. And first of all, they're human beings. That's why the stigma should be eliminated. They are grown human beings doing what they want to do. That is number one why the stigma should be eliminated. That right there should be the point blank period. But let's move forward from that. If you just don't feel like all human beings deserve decency and respect, let's move towards the fact that in order for sex workers to make money, people have to buy People have to put their money into sex work. If sex work was not lucrative, you would not see people doing sex work. Trisha Paytas says she makes most of her money off of this Patreon, which means there are regular, degular, smuggler people out there buying what Trisha Paytas is selling. There are regular people buying prostitutes. There are buying prostitutes is a weird word, and we're going to come back to that right after this point. There are regular people attending strip clubs. There are regular people who have prostitutes. There are regular people who watch porn. Regular people engage in sex work. So this idea that you feel like they don't deserve, that this isn't an actual job, shows for some reason your hypocrisy. You're distancing themselves from you. They are you. There is a whole network of people who buy sex workers, who buy the work made by sex workers. So don't sit here and say they don't deserve decency or it's not a real job, when real people are using their real money to pay for this. People who you love, people who you respect, maybe even yourself, are engaging in something that sex workers create. So this idea that they're not me, we're distant, you're one and the same. The sex worker circle goes around and around and around and around because people, everyday people, respectable, non-respectable people, engage in sex work. So that's why the stigma needs to be eliminated. Stop with the games. Stop with this behind closed doors thing. This is not even happening behind closed doors. How many times has a politician or someone got caught up in a sex scandal where they have prostitutes? Look at Robert Kraft from The Patriot. Buying prostitutes. It's not something that is uncommon, but the narrative is uncommon. People don't want to put it into the foreground, and that is the issue, and that comes along with a whole stigma of abuse. Now, I said we were going to get back to the point of buying sex workers. That I should have never said that, but I kept it in because that is a very dangerous thing to say. Buying a sex worker. You don't buy sex work. You are not buying the people. But that word is used because people feel like the sex workers don't deserve humanity. They don't deserve respect. Like sometimes I'll see things where a sex worker will say they were sexually assaulted, and people will be like, how are you sexually assaulted? You're a sex worker. You do whatever that sex worker is selling, you are not buying them. You are not buying the person. They are allowed to say yes to whatever, and they are allowed to say no to whatever. So sex workers can experience any form of sexual assault, but the biggest thing that sex workers face specifically on the internet is harassment. For some reason, the word sex worker seems to be coincide with disrespect. People love to disrespect sex workers, and that is a big issue for me, and that's where the Trisha Paytas things come in. There is a big issue where when people see sex work, they see, I can disrespect this person. But why? When you are the main ones engaging in the sex work. That's why I don't understand how you have this them versus me thing. When you guys are one in the same, you're watching porn, you're buying prostitutes, you're looking at the little things that people are doing on Patreon. You are engaging in it. You're going to strip clubs. You're engaging in it, yet you see this as a me and them type thing when it's not. You guys are the same. So this idea of buying sex worker, you're not. You are paying for their services. And just like you wouldn't go into Walmart and curse out the Walmart employee because you are paying for their services. You would not ask the Walmart person to go home with you. You would not ask the Walmart employee to pay for your groceries because you are not paying for them, the person. You are getting their services. Whoever owns Walmarts, the Waltons, do not ask Walmart workers to do anything that is not under their job description. Period. Or they shouldn't, or you should file a complaint against them because you're not buying the person. The Walmart employee cannot go to the Walton's house and do their dishes. They can't because you did not hire me for that. I am a Walmart employee and I do what is within my Walmart employee standard. So all this extraness is not what's going to happen. Sex workers are no different. You hire them for what you hire them for. Point blank, period. Just like at Walmart, that Walmart employee is allowed to decide whenever they want they are not going to do something. you can do the same thing. If you are at your job and they keep you over the time you're supposed to be out of there, you can file a complaint. You are allowed to leave. You are allowed to say, I was treated wrongly on this job. Sex workers are no different. Their employment is no different. How they make money is no different. So we still haven't gotten to where Trisha Paytas comes in. This type of disrespect that comes with sex workers is why Trisha Paytas comes in. There is no reason whatsoever to body shame Trisha Paytas. Trisha Paytas has several things to go in on her about. There are so many things you could say about Trisha Paytas that has nothing to do with her body. Nothing to do with her body. Trisha Paytas has been a sex worker almost all of her adult life. She was a stripper when she was in her early 20s. She's always done sexually explicit things on the internet to get views, to get money. Trisha Paytas has been a sex worker at this point probably over 10 years. Now, you guys are all talking about her botched boob job, but why not center the conversation towards the fact that sex workers are so belittled and degraded? They feel like the only way they can even have a stance in the sex work community is if they get a lot of bad work done. We can talk about all the sex workers who had to get horrible butt jobs, horrible boob jobs, horrible all types of surgery just to get their foot in the door, just to make money off of sex work in any way. Because let's be clear, if Trisha Paytas would have got on her channel and been flat-chested, you would have had something to say then too. So let's stop acting like the issue with botched boob jobs that sex workers have is them. They're doing this because of them. They're not doing this because of them. They're doing this because, once again, the stigma that is aligned with sex work. Now, all you'll say, well, just go do something different. Once again, go tell the people at Walmart who hate their job to just go do something different. Go tell the people go tell yourself to just go do something different. Some of these people are doing sex work because they enjoy it. Some people are doing sex work because that's all they can do. Some people are doing sex work because they feel like that's the easiest way for them to get their money. The thing is, you don't question other people as to why they have their job. And then also the people just go do something different. Then who's going to supply you with your porn, sis? Who's going to be at the strip club for you to throw dollars, bro? Who's going to do all these things that you enjoy, that you partake in? So no, it's not just go find another job, because there's people like you who avidly fund the sex work community. So what do you mean go find something else to do? Then you wouldn't have your vices, boo-boo. So what are you saying? What are you saying? There is this culture within sex work that they have to get this work done in order to keep up with your demand. So the idea that everyone got under that post and was degrading and belittling Trisha Paytas, it really bothered me. And a lot of people know I don't like Trisha Paytas, and a lot of people were tagging me in this post, and I'm just like, I'm not the one. I'm not the one, the two, or the three. Like, I'm not the one for you to sit here and tear down another woman on the basis of a body. I know exactly why Trisha Paytas has a botched boob job. Trisha Paytas has thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars right now. She could have now at this point, she could have gotten a better boob job. But Trisha Paytas, who was in the strip club a decade ago, could not. There are plenty of strippers in the strip club who could not get a better boob job than the one they have now. Black China looking the way she's looking. That is not because they want to look that way. That is because there's this culture of sex work that non-sex workers create. It is the consumer who creates these standards that sex workers have to live up to. But then it's also the same consumer who disrespects sex workers. Trisha Paytas should have never had to endure what she endured on the internet over posting those videos. And you guys know I don't even like Trisha Paytas. But once again, there is just a culture of sex work. There are plenty of women out there. Plenty of women out there with bad surgery who are not sex workers, and you wouldn't have treated them that way. You would not have said those things about them. But for some reason, like I said, the word sex work seems to be synonymous with disrespect. When you see someone engaging in sex work, you feel like it's no holds barred. Let's just all go after this person. And it's like, why? Ask yourself, the girl who tweeted that tweet, And everyone under the comments making all types of jokes that weren't even funny about Trisha Paytas' body. What did you gain? What did you gain out of that in the end? Trisha Paytas will still make her money. You will still be broke. You will still be living in your struggle. What is the point? Except for the fact that we live in a culture where no matter what, you go after sex workers. No matter what, you belittle sex workers. No matter what, you show sex workers that they are the bottom of the barrel. And for what? Why? Trisha, I saw a tweet and I forgot who said it on my timeline, but they said it best. Come up with something else. Trisha Paytas has tens of thousands of other things you could come at her for. I have done it. And I promise you, her body is the last of the things. Her engaging in sex work is the last of the same things. I saw other people in the comments like, why is she even doing this? Have you ever thought, the thing is, a lot of the time it's women who say these things. Oh, why does she even have to do this? She makes money this, she makes money that. Hold that thought now. Hold the thought, like, why is she doing this? She has this money. But how many times have we heard Susie from the suburbs say, I'm going to drop out of college and go be a stripper, even though she don't have no ass to shake and couldn't shake it if she wanted to. But she's going to go be a stripper. It's this idea that we have proximity to sex work, but we also act distant to it. Oh, I'm going to drop out of college and go be a sex worker. You're not. You don't have the pedigree. You don't have the psyche. You don't have it. We're going to stop seeing sex work as something that's just like, I'm down and out. Let me go be a sex worker, and actually see sex work as something that is to be respected. Everyone can't do it. Everyone cannot do what Trisha Paytas is doing on Patreon right now. Everyone can't be in the strip club. Everyone can't be doing porn. And there are women making thousands of dollars, but there's also women making $10. And yet it's all to be respected because they're living their journey the same way you're living your journey. So don't sit here and be like, why is she doing that? When you'll also make jokes about how you would do it too, because she has the guts, to take ownership of her life. Once again, we got to get out the shackles, ladies. We have to get out of the shackles. We have to decide that we're reclaiming our life. I don't know why Trisha Paytas is on Patreon showing her body, but you also want to know what else? I don't care. Guess what? She has an 18 plus disclosure on her Patreon. That's all I ask. All I ask is for you not to allow children to see these things. That's all I ask. All I ask is for sex work to not involve children and unwillful participants. That is all I ask. Another thing I would like for people to not sit here and use the property of sex workers to fulfill whatever retweets and likes you want to get. You don't own those videos of Trisha Paytas. And I know it's Twitter. People can retweet and use what they want. But let's start having respect for sex workers. Let's start having respect for what they do, because you engage in it. You'll have your bachelorette party and go to a strip club. Some dudes go to strip clubs every day. Some women go to strip clubs every day. People are watching. You engage in it. So why can't you have respect for it? And the issue is, and that's why I said Trisha Paytas is going to be rich regardless. That's why Trisha Paytas is just a catalyst for this. But there are plenty of women who this is all they got. Trisha Paytas could log off of Patreon right now and move on to something else. But this is all a lot of women have. And you can sit here on your high horse and be like, they need to go to college. They need to go to this. Stop being willfully obtuse. Stop being willfully obtuse and sitting here believing that we live in a culture, we live in a society that just allows people to just do whatever they want. Hey, just go to school. Hey, just go do this. Just go get a job. It ain't like that, boo-boo. You and I both know we do not live in a culture that is specifically women of color. We live in a culture that just allows them to just do what they want to do. We don't live in that culture. We don't live in that culture where you can just go to school. You can just go get a job. We do not live in that culture. So if they want to get their money like that, what is it to you? What is it to you to where you feel like at any chance you get, you have to belittle these women who are engaging in these things. It's not worth it. It's honestly not worth it, and it's sad. It's sad to see what I see sex workers go through on the internet. And because we live in the social media phase, a lot of women who have maybe done sex work in private or done sex work on the streets are now doing it via the internet, which I would say for the most part is safer. I know I took a class in college and they said it was safer. I don't know what the statistics are looking like right now, but they said it is safer for sex workers to do internet work than it is. But internet via sex work has been going on forever, the webcam girls. So it is a safer medium now for sex workers to get their work done. If you guys would just leave them the hell alone, because here's the gag. Every sex worker I see on the internet be like, y'all got so much to say, but your husband in my DMs trying to figure out what's my price. And it's so funny, and that's why I say it's a lot of women. I think there's something to be unpacked. I think there's something to uncover as to why a lot of women feel uncomfortable with sex work, because patriarchal Patty can't fathom living in a world where a woman is reclaiming her body, and she knows her body may not be attractive to most men, but she still finds liberation in it. Because let me tell you a little something about patriarchal Patties. Women who live for misogyny, women who live to be catalysts to patriarchy do not like it when women who don't are doing okay, are comfortable in their body, because they're realizing that all the work that they have done, all the work their entire life that they have done to appease men has gotten them nowhere. They're realizing what all patriarchal Patties, all misogynistic Mendies have all realized, wait a minute. I've done all this for patriarchy and I'm still broke, depending on a man, doing the, like, I'm not happy. And so they have to do things like that. And I don't know the girl who tweeted the original tweet. And let's be clear, she was talking about the surgeon, but we've already gone over that. The fact that a lot of sex workers have to sustain themselves through bad surgery because we created such a toxic environment for sex workers. The butts have to be bigger. The boobs have to be bigger. The faces have to be plumper. The lips have to be bigger. Consumers have created that culture for them to have to go down to whatever country and get bad surgery done, or go in some back alley in LA to get some boob implants. We've created that culture for them. So why not, instead of going after Trisha Paytas, and for what, she's such an easy victim, you guys. She's such an easy victim. Instead of saying that, how about we just leave her alone? How about we leave her alone and allow her to make her money? But that doesn't get you. You have to go out of your way to comfort her, because you're not comfortable with sex work. There's just there's a whole nation of people who aren't comfortable with sex work. And so when they're confronted with them, you get this lashing out. You get this, she's fat. I mean, them comments were so mean. And I'm like, do y'all not think sex workers go through enough? Do they not go through enough? And now I understand Trisha Paytas is rich, and you'll say Trisha Paytas is rich, and if she puts her body on the internet, we should be allowed to say what she wants. But when do you as a person have to say, enough is enough? Like, I don't want to do that. So that's why I'm like, you're not tagging me in this. Don't sit here and think I'm about to key and talk about Trisha Paytas' body. For what? For what? Why would I do that? Why would I sit there and do that to someone? Why would I sit there and see a woman trying to make her money? Why would I sit there and have something negative to say about sex work when I know most of America is consuming sex work in some way? I'm not going to sit there and do it, because all it does is continue the cycle of misogyny. And seeing women in those comments keying, I'm like, what do you gain? You don't realize they're keying at her, but they'll key at you. You don't know when you're going to be in that position. Yes, you're sitting in your tower of privilege. You don't know when you're going to have to be the sex worker. You don't know when you're going to do something that's not agreeable to men. Because I promise you, that's the thing. I promise you, if Trisha Paytas was attractive, we wouldn't see all this keying. We want to know what we hear. Ooh, I need to be a sex worker. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to do this. I'm going to drop out of college and go do some Patreon stuff. But you can't do it. That's the thing. There's so many layers to uncover to sex worker. The attractiveness politics of it all is just very dangerous. And it leaves women who don't fall under the attractiveness to be harassed, assaulted? How many sex workers are being raped because they look like Trisha Paytas? How many sex workers are revealing their bodies and all of a sudden they're getting this? That's why I say it starts something way bigger. This small little Trisha Paytas thing, none of us like Trisha Paytas, okay, but this small little thing leads to something so much bigger, and it personifies a culture that is so much bigger. It is a culture of sex workers constantly being harassed, constantly being abused by just minding their own business. And if you just minded your business, I promise you it wouldn't affect you. She didn't gain anything by saying something about Trisha Paytas' breast augmentation. She didn't gain anything except tearing down someone else. That is all you get. But the thing is, sex workers hear this every single day. Every single day. Anyways, that's my story. Who would have ever thought I would come on my channel and defend Trisha Paytas? And I'm not, but Trisha Paytas' sex work is the last thing you should come for Trisha Paytas about. I actually think that's one of the only admirable things about her. The fact that she's showing that you can have money, you can be rich and still engage in sex work. Sex work doesn't have to be something associated with poverty. It doesn't have to be something associated with struggle. You can be a successful woman and be successful not doing sex work and still engage in sex work. I think that's actually quite liberating, and I think it's actually quite beautiful and poetic of Trisha Paytas to still engage in sex work even though she doesn't have to, because this stigma that sex work only has to be done by women who are struggling, poor, uneducated, it's not necessary, and it's not the truth. It is something that is false. There are plenty of women who went to college who are in the strip clubs, and you know that. But the thing is, you have all these morals. What are morals? We're going to one day dissect what are morals. Because the thing is, like I said, plenty of people you respect, love, even you are engaging in sex work. So what are the morals for? Who gets the morals? Who gets to have morals? Who gets to have morals in America? Who gets to decide they are someone of morals? Anyways, I will see you guys in my next one. I'm in my new apartment, and I'm struggling, y'all. I'm spending too much money on decorations and everything, but my house is going to be so cute. I'm going to do an apartment tour because, it's sickening. My place is about to look sickening. You're not ready. You are not ready. Anyways, I will see you guys in my next one. Bye-bye.